How's it going? Mike here, The Fresh Rinse. This is episode 19 of our 2023 complete pressure washing rig rebuild. And I'm pretty excited because we have ourselves an AR45 and I'm going to show you how I set it up. But know this, it wasn't always this way. No, there was a time when I was just a lowly pressure washer. I only had like a 8 gallon a minute machine and a 10 gallon a minute machine. And I was only washing like 4, maybe 5 houses a day. That was the struggle, but now we're in the big leagues. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with a blank canvas and we're going to plumb and install this complete setup. And I'm going to show you how to do it piece by piece. So don't go anywhere. Boom. Before we get started with the actual plumbing of the AR45, let me tell you about a few modifications that I have made to the control panel. As a caveat, very quickly, let me say that I purchased both the manifold and the remote control system, all of this as a kit from Texas pressure washing store. As it came in shipment, it was absolutely perfect. Any modifications that I have made were preferential, not out of necessity. And I may say that a few times. I cannot highlight it enough that what came to me in shipment was absolutely perfect. And chances are, if you purchase from them, then you are going to see something very similar to this, which is turnkey and ready to go straight out of the box. There were a few adjustments that I wanted to make. For example, this connection here and this connection here will receive one hose, and I'll explain all of that as we continue in the video. I chose to raise the manifold about 1.5 inches. You can see the previous holes that came from the manufacturer. Originally, as it came out of the box, this manifold was dropped down about 1.5 inches, which meant that when this hose end connected to this hose end, it was going to be at an angle at about 1.5 inches. For visual sake, I chose to raise this up again 1.5 inches so that I could have an almost even or parallel line here from this barb to this barb. The second modification that I made also pertains to the placement of the manifold. I not only raised it 1.5 inches, but I also pulled it back towards the camera about 1.5 inches. I used spacers that I got from my big box store. In fact, I had to purchase 2 different sizes so that I could get the depth that I needed. That too is for visual, because as you can see, not only would this hose be going at an angle, but it would also have to curl back towards the tank here, which would make for a tough little turn. Now this would turn and that's fine, but it would just made sense if I had the opportunity, and I did, to pull this back 1.5 inches. Now I have an almost even flow here from this hose barb to this hose barb. The third modification that I made deals with these 2 soap lines. Again, I will explain where these go and what they do later on in the video. Straight from the manufacturer, this hose barb was at a 90, just like this one. I went to the store and I purchased this straight hose barb because I will be running my soap line from here straight over and then down to my soap tank, which I'll show you here later. Otherwise, I would have to run my soap line down here, over to here, and then down to the soap tank, and I wanted to avoid doing that. Again, all of that for visual. Once again, let me reiterate, everything that came to me was absolutely perfect. No adjustments had to be made. Everything was out of preference. Now let's get started plumbing the AR45. Along with the manifold that I purchased from Texas Pressure Washing Store, they also offer a complete plumbing kit. At a price, they fit everything for your AR45 or whatever pump that you have, and they ship it directly to you. This saved me tons of time at an upgraded price, but nonetheless, I saved a ton of time not having to run back and forth to the big box store. In addition to the plumbing kit, of course, they sent a pair of orange glasses, and scattered in the box was candy, which I've already eaten, so there's that. For viewer friendliness, I have taken the time to remove the actual AR45, placed it in the floor. You might remember in a previous video, I had it mounted. I want to be able to see everything that's going on here, and I also want you, the viewer, to be able to see everything with minimal distraction or interference. With the exception of the bypass line and the main fluid source, both of which will be coming directly to the machine, so we'll hook that up after we get the machine mounted. We're going to work ourselves left to right and plumb everything up in the order that we see it. So we'll begin with water, then soap, our chemical, and of course, this is our bypass for SH and water. Here you see we have a 1-inch hose barb. This is how we meter our water. Of course, most of the time, this valve will remain fully open. We will loop this 1-inch hose over to this 1-inch hose barb. This remote control system is how we turn on and off the soap. In the middle of the hose, we will have a T, which will run over and into the pump, and that's how we will draw water to the AR45. Off camera, I'm going to connect all of this. We'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, welcome back. We have our water lines ran. I'm very happy with the way that things are going thus far. At the end of the video, I will be sharing a detailed tour of where everything goes. This is just a visual for you if you're looking to put together an AR45 with the manifold and the remote control bypass. Just gives you a bird's eye look of how things are supposed to flow. Now, as a caveat, let me say, you do not have to run a T on either side. I did that by preference. I just want it to flow nicely. I want it to look nice. A lot of guys will just simply loop this around perfectly fine and then run their T, and that's how it comes with the kit. Included in the kit is the T, but not the elbows. Also included in the kit is the banjo filter, but not the bracket that you mount it to the plate. You'll have to buy that in the electrical department at your big box store. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I was going to share with you why I wanted to pull the metering system away from the panel. And that's because I wanted this to flow nicely right up and behind the metering system and then into the tank. At the end of the video, we'll be putting the hose down into the tank, and I'll show you how I do that using a uniseal. We'll do this both with the buffer tank and also with the SH tank. All right, next we're going to install our soap lines, which will loop from here over to here into this remote control system, out the side of the remote control system, over and behind the metering system, and then down to our soap tank. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, we are back and we have our soap lines installed. So this is the metering valve for the soap. Comes out of this hose barb, runs along this rail and up to this side of the remote control. The remote control is tapped into this, so when we turn off our soap, this regulates and shuts off. When it's on, it will run through the remote control from this hose barb behind the metering system, down this rail, and then into the 5-gallon soap tank. Looking great. I'm very, very happy. Now we will move towards our chem lines, which is very, very simple, though I will go off camera to run our 1-inch hose from here to here. That's all that entails. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back, and that didn't take long at all. We have our hose ran from our chem valve over to the remote control setup. Of course, when actuated into the on position, it will then allow chemical to run from here. Notice that this line is looped. Later on in the video, you'll see that off camera, I added 2 90s to keep the nice streamlined look. And along the rail and then into the tank, that's where we will keep our SH. Okay, so now we're going to mount our machine. That will then allow us to run our bypass and our main fluid lines. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are back and I have the machine set in place. Something that I failed to mention early on in the video is that I did make another adjustment off camera. In a previous video, I had this rack that the AR45 sits on over probably 6 or 8 inches just to the edge of the 275 tote. After I got the panel mounted, I realized that by making a simple adjustment this way allows me to run my main fluid hose right straight into the AR45. Otherwise, it would have been at an angle. It would work, but this, again, just everything being streamlined, I absolutely love the way that this is turning out. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm also off camera going to run the bypass, and then we'll come back, we'll see what that looks like, and I have one more hose to run from the AR45 to the hose reel. Don't go anywhere. Again, that didn't take long. We now have our supply hose, which really supplies chem, soap, and water, all three, into the machine. We have that ran. Again, notice how streamlined that is. And then we have our bypass line, which is 25 feet of bypass line, ran from this end of the manifold where it says bypass. The 25 feet curls up and around, hidden right behind the machine, and then it connects to this bypass line right here. The only thing left to do now is to attach the 3/4 inch hose to the outlet here on the AR45, run it around the buffer tank, and then connect it to the appropriate hose reel. After that, we will set our uniseals in place with our drop sticks and hoses, and we are good to go. Don't go anywhere. I now have the pressure line installed. I will be purchasing some swivels for both ends of the pressure line. It's just not going to work. It's too hard to tighten without a swivel, so I'll order those tonight. I did in fact purchase the swivels, and you'll see those installed towards the end of the video. But it runs from behind the AR45 along the rail, nice and clean, over to the hose reel, and then fits perfectly. I couldn't have asked for it to be a better length. I want to say I really appreciate the guys at Texas Pressure Washing for supplying everything exactly as I needed it. No parts left over, exactly what I needed. And then a big shout out to my friend Barry Little's Pressure Washing, who got the whole thing going for me and gave me a great price on the AR45. He also sold me the 10 gallon a minute Honda IGX 800. So Barry Little's Pressure Washing, to get all of your equipment. You will not be disappointed. Now all I have to do is install the uniseals in both the SH tank and the buffer tank, and then we're going to wheel this out into the driveway where we can get it in sunlight and really go through it piece by piece and show you where everything goes and how it works. All right, I really appreciate you hanging out with me for the entire video. It means a lot. We have ourselves a finished product. I have the uniseal installed for the SH tank. Now, for those of you who've never seen a uniseal, this is what it is. This is a 1-inch uniseal, gets a 1 3/4 inch hole saw. You can use that, or you can use a bulkhead. These are rather expensive. I got 2 in the kit, one for the SH and one for water. Now I just got off the phone with Herb Michelli, All Pro Exteriors, I believe, out of Louisiana, and he was telling me that it's better to do away with this entire setup here, and instead of going through the top and drawing, it would be better to put a bulkhead in the bottom and draw from the bottom, and that way you won't have to prime the machine as much. So I think we're going to go with this for now, just because we've put so much effort into this, and then if we have problems, then we'll take Herb's advice and go from the top. Let's do this. Let's back the truck up, pull the rig out into the daylight, take a look at this, and we'll do a complete overview. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're going to do a simple flyby tutorial here in just a moment. Before we do that, I want to point out that I decided off camera to install two 90s, one here and one here, and this is for the SH line. I did that merely for cosmetics, but also because I want you, the viewer, to be able to see where everything goes. Before, it was looped, and now with the 90s, it's all much more streamlined, and it's just more pleasing to the eye. So with that said, let's do a little flyby here so that you can see it. When you're putting together your AR45, you can see a good visual of the way that everything is supposed to be lined up and where it's supposed to go. And that, of course, is assuming that you have a remote control bypass set up for both your SH and water, and also for your soap. I want to once again say how much I appreciate the people at Texas Pressure Washing Store who put together the complete console here with the metering system and the remote control bypass. They did a fantastic job. They shipped that to me the same week that I ordered it, and then also the complete plumbing kit as well for an upgraded price. You'll want to check them out. Heath Phelps is the gentleman who put all this together for me. You'll know him because he looks very much like his brother, Michael Phelps. And then I want to say I appreciate Barry Little from Little's Pressure Washing, who put all of this together for me and shipped it out. And again, the same week that I ordered it, I'm absolutely happy with the product that I have. And yeah, I hope that this helps to be able to see all of this in line. To be perfectly honest with you, I have scoured YouTube and I cannot find a video. I haven't seen one. If it's out there, I haven't seen it, where you really get to see all of the plumbing and where everything goes. In an upcoming video, we're going to put the AR45 through the paces. We're going to fire it up and we're going to see exactly how this bad boy runs. In the meantime, we will at least turn on the remote control and show you that it does work. And with that, I must say that the 2023 pressure washing rig rebuild is done. There's nothing left to do that requires a full-length video. On second thought, do you see what I see? Literally, while editing the video, I took notice that one of the brackets has broken from the leaf spring, and I have ordered a complete kit. Should be in the mail soon, and when it gets here, we'll do a full-fledged video on how to repair the bushing assembly on both sides. That could have been catastrophic. I'm glad I caught it. So I'm super excited about this. If you've enjoyed this series, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment. I'd greatly appreciate it. Hit the bell tab. You'll never miss another video. In our next video, we are going to take a tour of the complete pressure washing rig, and we're going to fire up all of the equipment. We're going to see how well everything runs, and that will conclude this series. So, all right. I really appreciate you watching. My name's Mike. I am the Fresh Rinse, and I'm out.